Now, let's look at example 11. For example 11, there is one missing table. There is supposed to be a table of statistic whereby like this kind of table. Yeah, this table. For example 11, this table is missing. So it is okay. We try to answer this question. First of all, of course, you need to read the question first. Given here is 12 equally capable research officers were randomly selected and 6 were randomly assigned to standard procedure to complete the task. So you know that the first group is a standard procedure. The other 6 were asked to do the task using developed facilitation tool. So this is another group. The first group is the standard procedure, which is n is equal to 6, and another 6 is belongs to facilitation tools. So the question is, at 5% significant level, which is 5% represent the alpha, can it be concluded that the mean difference in time completion between standard procedures is more than facilitation tools? Of course, I will start with the label first. I will label. So 1 is for the standard procedure, and number 2 represent the facilitation. For this question, you need to carry out the living test first because it doesn't mention here whether it is equal or unequal variances, right? Actually, there is another question. It is like A, B, and C. A, you need to do the living test. In order, you need to know whether it is equal variances or unequal variances in order for you to proceed with the hypothesis testing. Okay, so for this one, you need to carry out the living test. So let's do the living test first. Sorry. Remember, you cannot skip the rule. When you write the decision, please write the rule first. After that, followed by the decision. Okay. So when we use the p-value approach, the rule is if p-value less than alpha, then you will reject the null hypothesis. So the decision here is since p-value is 0.003, your alpha is 0.05, less than the alpha, then you may reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the conclusion is assume unequal variances. So after the living test, you may proceed with the hypothesis testing for a mean, for 2 population means. Okay. So we have done the living test. Now we can answer this question. The question asks you, is there any difference in time completion between standard procedure is more than facilitation tools? We want to see that. So of course, we need to start with the hypothesis testing. So first step is hypothesis testing. Sorry, you need to state the hypothesis for null and alternative. Just now, what you do here is the living test. Living test is whether you want to know whether the variances are equal or unequal. For now, we want to know whether our mean is more than, is less than, or unequal. But for this case, it is more than. Okay. So mu1 minus mu2 equal to 0 and mu1 minus mu2 greater than symbol. For this one, it is one tail test, right? Or right tail because greater than symbol. Okay, by looking at this one, why you don't have to use the test statistic approach? Because the p-value is given here. So this is the p-value. So if the p-value is given, you just need to use the p-value. Now you state the p-value. P-value here is equal to 0.000. It is not 0. It has a value, but the value is very, very small. So you cannot write 0. Just copy like the one that give to you, 0.000. So after you state the p-value, you can continue with the decision. So decision is, remember to always state the rule. Okay. So again, the rule is similar as previously. If p-value less than alpha, we can reject the null hypothesis. So for this one, I'm going to write the decision straight away, but then make sure you write the rule in your notebook. Okay, so the decision here is since 0.000 literally less than your alpha, which is 0.05, then you can reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the conclusion is the time completion between standard procedure is more than facilitation tools. Okay, now you can try several other questions. Good luck.